Welcome to Thought for the Day. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Graham and I'm a reader here in the parish of Portishead. I really love hot weather, but the recent heat waves have been rather too much, even for me. The heat saps our energy, and certainly in my case, I find myself a bit grumpier than normal, really. I think I need to stop reading or listening to the news when it's hot, as I seem to get annoyed very quickly. Perhaps I'm just becoming a grumpy old man. I hope you're not nodding in agreement at that. During June, in our daily Bible readings, we've been working through the book of Job, which has only really served to exacerbate my irritation. As I see it, Job has plenty of reason to complain. If you're not familiar with this Old Testament book, it's a thought-provoking read. It's a great story to boot, and it's well worth a look, in my opinion. At one point in the story, Job gets cross with God, and then later God gets cross with Job as the story unfolds. So that got me wondering if it's okay to get angry with God. There certainly seems to be quite a few people in the Bible who get cross, or at least a bit tetchy, with the Almighty. Moses gets so frustrated with the task that God assigned him, leading people who seem to do nothing but complain. In the end, he asked God to take his life. Jonah gets angry with God for showing mercy to the city of Nineveh after he's been prophesying its destruction. King David expresses anger and frustration with God in many of the Psalms. And there are more examples of where people can get cross. Which brings us back to Job. Now, he's been described as both the world's most righteous man and its greatest sufferer. In Job chapter 1 verse 8, God says of him, "There is no one like him on earth, a blameless and righteous man, upright." He had everything. He lost everything, and then naturally asked the question we all utter at times. Why, Lord? Job's friends try to come alongside him, and for 7 days they sit quietly with him, sharing the pain of his misfortune. They seem to have spent their time, understandably, trying to analyse how Job has ended up in this dreadful situation. Unfortunately, they conclude that Job must have sinned terribly to earn such retribution. Needless to say, when they offer their misguided opinion, it only serves to make Job even more unhappy. Job gets to present his case to God, and he does so quite forcibly. His anger radically alters the way he would normally address the Lord. And don't forget, God knows the depth of Job's faith and his righteousness. But more importantly, God trusts him. By way of response, God reminds Job who he's addressing. He doesn't do it gently. Job is left in no doubt that he should not question his God. So he has a rethink, and the tale ends well. I find myself increasingly asking the question, why, in my prayers? As we hear of how we humans wage war and mistreat each other. And our focus seems to be on destroying each other, and we seem oblivious to the fact that climate change is doing a much better job than us in destroying our planet. Our world seems to be in a constant state of turmoil and crisis. Sorry, drifting into grumpy old man mode again. So, is it okay to get angry with God? Well, yes and no. Yes, in that God wants us to be honest with him, to open our heart and share our concerns with him. Because when we feel open to sharing our feelings, our pain, we deepen our relationship with our loving God. But no, it's not okay in that when we allow our anger to take hold, our powers of reason diminish, and emotions may dictate what we say. And one can end up saying things we don't really mean, and may come to regret later. So my thought for us as we go into the next few days is to stay calm when faced with annoying situations. The old adage of think before you speak comes into play here. And if all else fails, listen to the advice from the letter of James, chapter 1, verses 19 and 20. He suggests, be quick to listen, slow to speak, slow to anger, for your anger does not produce God's righteousness. Go well.